They turned my farm into a makeshift parking garage practically overnight. I'm not kidding, I rolled out of bed one crisp autumn morning in 2022, down in the quiet suburbs of Texas, and there it was, strangers hammering stakes into my soil, neon yellow ribbons fluttering like warning flags, and a convoy of sedans and SUVs rumbling across my pasture as if they'd bought the deed themselves. My heart skipped a beat, not from anger at first, but sheer disbelief. How could this happen? And the wildest thing? My next-door folks acted like it was just another Tuesday, like my hard-earned acres were suddenly up for a town hall vote. I stood there, coffee mug in hand, wondering when I'd signed up for some invisible committee dictating my life. If this were you, would you have lost it on the spot or bitten your tongue to figure out the play? It started when I was tweaking my irrigation system, and these guys from Summit Parking Solutions started directing traffic right over my freshly mowed lawn. Yellow stakes outlined a grid that screamed organization, something called Q-grid markers, numbered 1 through 19, carving out lanes like a professional lot. A banner slapped on my gate read, "Community Spillover Parking Approved Access." Last I checked my title papers, there was no fine print about handing over control to a homeowners group I never bothered joining. I snatched up a loose stake, gripping it like a smoking gun in a trial I hadn't been summoned to. The first attendant who wandered over looked baffled when I demanded answers. "We're handling extra spots for the local festival," he said, flipping through his notes. The planning chair gave us the blueprint. Funny, because no one had looped me in about volunteering my fields as their backup plan. The setup not at Mathies weren't random overflow spots. Someone had mapped it out with laser precision, estimating capacity for dozens of cars. I paced the edges, counting those markers, each one driven in with care that suggested high-tech gear. My neighbor, the sharp-eyed financial consultant named Lisa Hayes, strolled over from her yard, eyeing the chaos. She pores over community ledgers like they're thrillers, always grilling the board at gatherings. "Did you greenlight this?" she asked, scanning the tidy rows. I shook my head. "First I'm hearing of it. Guess my property's public domain now." Her brow furrowed. "That doesn't add up." The group's finances had a vague entry about income boosters, but no details. The Summit boss pulled up in a branded truck, hauling more barriers and signs. He seemed genuinely thrown when I introduced myself as the owner. "We were assured this was cleared community land for festival overflow," he insisted, rifling through his folder. Rachel from the planning team supplied the specs and locations. I'd never crossed paths with any Rachel running festivals, but I wasn't exactly in their inner circle. His puzzlement felt real, making me question what lies she'd spun. What raised my hackles was the pro-level execution. Legit permits, painted bays, even temporary fences. This screamed investment, not a quick fix. When I pressed for docs, he dodged, saying they were at HQ. That's when I whipped out my phone and started filming the cones glowing under the sun, crew badges up close, drivers cluelessly churning my turf. The attendants squirmed under the lens, mumbling about privacy consents. On my own dirt, the irony hit like a slap. Lisa hung around, intrigued by the drama. "I've spotted Rachel at a couple of board sessions," she whispered. "She's been pushing for bigger community bashes, talking up, optimizing assets." Never figured she meant poaching private ones. Her accounting instincts smelled foul play in the funds. On my phone, I pulled up the community's online dashboard for permits and fixes. Bam, my plot was flagged as Q-zone entry in their system. The nerve of slipping me into their scheme without a heads up. Lisa suggested hitting up County Clerk Maria Lopez for border clarifications and Fire Chief Mike Harrison, who keeps official duties clear of group drama. Those pros might cut through the fog if things heated up. All morning, the crew waved in more vehicles despite my yells, their swagger hinting they believed they had the law on their side, either duped or in on a con. Since when did I bow to a club I skipped? Rachel called a resident huddle at the rec hall. I wasn't on the invite list, but Lisa texted the scoop. They were debating parking solutions and group harmony code for voting on my fields. I crashed it anyway. The room was buzzing when I walked in. Rachel was mid-presentation, slides touting event crowds and space needs, my land starring as the hero spot. "We all pitch in for thriving events," she preached. When I rose, silence fell. "I'm Alex Turner, the guy whose field you're plotting on," I declared. No one asked me. Rachel's poise cracked just a hair. We figured you'd back the community. Others have stepped up. The subtle jab? Fall in line or be the outcast. Folks cornered me after some empathetic, others irked. A family urged compromise for a neighborhood vibe. Another griped that dues pay for perks, so I owed a share. Tension simmered, especially with kids plastering homemade pleas on my fence during fairs. But ownership isn't a poll, it's black and white. Lisa tugged me aside during snacks. Dug into the books, she murmured. There's a hefty asset utilization pot. This reeks of profit, not just fun. That flipped the script. This wasn't goodwill. It was a cash grab on my turf. Fire Chief Mike sat quiet, offering straight facts on safety lanes without picking teams. Officer Ryan Cole, known for cracking down on land grabs, got nods from neighbors recalling old beefs. Rachel's petition for joint access racked up signatures, painting it as unity. The site game was slick. Families backed it for kid events, seniors for home values. I dove into my deed that night, solidifying my stance. A plot sat outside their rules. No signatures, no covenants. They couldn't ballot away my rights. Pressure ramped up, doorstep chats, mailbox slips, even sidewalk chalk chants. I countered with deed handouts. Some neighbors woke up to the lines. Others clung to greater good vibes. Rachel twisted my defense into greed, my boundaries into buzzkill. Lisa confirmed the fund trail me acres as their moneymaker. I tracked tire grooves with a rusty yardstick, snapping timed pics from set angles, sealing files like court exhibits. Dirt doesn't fib about trespass. Summit upped the ante, stamped chalks, striped curbs, Q-coded gear for 35-plus spots. This was revenue maxed, not temp. The boss snapped when I documented, "You're meddling in sanctioned ops," he barked, flashing a protocol badge as proof. Codes on blocks hinted at custom orders. I noted them for traces. A crew guy nudged a stake deeper onto my side. I filmed and yanked it back. Creep by creep, they pushed. Lisa dropped more, budgets for lot prep and seasonal parking pros. Compression patterns screamed expertise radii, flows, the works. Layout hogged my field, profit over my piece. Their edginess screamed shaky ground, yet they forged on, complicit or conned. Soil hole screamed site surveys for heavy loads, not casual, but sustained biz. Codes might timeline the plot months back. A news crew rolled in Tuesday, hyping that land feud tearing the suburb. I was the bad guy, hoarding space from festivities. The anchor's opener dripped bias, my stubborn holdout. Aired segment, owner stalls community joy, with teary parents and balloon-toting tots as victims. HOA rep echoed woes, 0 on deeds. Online, greedy farmer, waves. Doubt crept in. Am I the jerk? Then deed reread. Rights aren't selfish, they're bedrock. Lisa called post-broadcast. Reporter huddled with HOA pre-tape. Scripted. Spin skipped facts for feels. Forums erupted in shaming, half-baked outrage. I armed with records, but anchor waved off. Viewers want heart, not legalese. Felt like Planet advocacy. Wednesday, my drive was jammed with gear maintenance, they claimed, but it screamed blockade. From nudge to shove, this crossed into crime. Workers hauled blocks, shrugging off my access rights. Boss's orders. Threats whispered. Contractor blacklists, value dips. One hinted non-helpers face issues. Logged it all. Rachel showed with board backup, circling me, booming false edicts for ears to hear. Your block hurts us all. Psyops to break me. Staff claimed legal muscle lies risking clash. I dialed the sheriff. Officer Ryan Cole sped in, snapping pics, grilling the crew. Tone shifted, barriers vanished. He exposed Rachel's fake authority tales to Summit. Report nailed harassment pattern. Maria Lopez arrived with county files. Plats proving my outlot free of HOA grip. No phantom easement forged by Rachel. Mike Harrison clarified. 14-foot fire lanes only, no party parking nods. Summit buys dated months prior for Q-zone. Policy voids for off-limits ops, slamming personal hits. News points traced to Rachel, county cited breaches. HOA scrambled. Emergency meet ousted Rachel, distanced from her mess. Liability loomed bankruptcy whispers. Ryan referred for fraud, bullying. Fines hit. For $1,000 unauthorized biz, $2,500 fixes. Rachel ate $9,000 plus bills, yearly law classes, restrictions. Summit yanked gear, Sued her for lies, subs followed. I gathered those stakes, turning them to veggie supports, watching peppers sprout where ruts faded. But the scar? Defending what's yours takes grit. Rights on paper mean zilch without fight. What about you? Would community good ever trump your deed? Is one holdout selfish, or the hero against overreach? Should HOAs face jail for such grabs? Spill in comments, did I overreact, or nail it? Hit like if this fired you up, subscribe for more real-life twists. Who's next to guard their ground?